Okay, good morning. Hi, Ten, George Realty. Hope you have a nice weekend. It was indeed a very nice weekend weather-wise. Um, I went to, I went to the Malibu area yesterday. I kind of toured up the burnout site. There's still a lot of houses not rebuilt. In other words, they're still in the process of getting permits and dealing with the city and getting the debris and stuff like that. And there's a lot of them for sale. You know, surprisingly, a lot of them decided not to rebuild and try to sell the land instead. And the land is relatively cheaper than before. A lot cheaper, actually, I could say. Usually the price in Malibu area is like 180, $200 per square foot, And some of the listing there are like $22, $35 per square foot. I was shocked, how come it's so cheap? But you have
Where?
to watch out because you still have to deal with the removal of
Yeah,
contaminated soils
yep.
and then you have to deal with the city with the permits and
Mhm.
who knows. And also the insurance. A big problem is the insurance. So you might not be able to get the insurance. But if you can, take care of those problems and try to rebuild, I think it's buildable. I think it's feasible to rebuild because right now the building a custom home is about 550 to $600, but you can in the Malibu area you can sell it for $1,000 per square foot. If you can do it right, you can make some profit. In case you have buyers like that, hey, you can talk to them and find out whether there's a feasible project for them or not. Okay. All right, but that's just my side story. Okay.
Oh, Peter.
Well, yeah. What?
Um, so speaking about those Malibu fires, one of my classmates from high school, I saw his dad purchased a few of those lots,
Yeah.
and they were able to work with the city to build. So the way they built the foundation and
Yeah.
everything
Uh-huh.
was fireproof, and like everything was like I don't know how they did the foundation and everything, but they hired special architects, everything,
Oh.
and
Mm-hmm.
they were able to sell those for 10 mil plus.
Uh-huh. Oh,
And
you
they
mean after the
purchased
build? After the build?
after the build.
Yeah. Right now, they have other the sprinkler system too, special sprinkler system where they use the recycled water in case you have fire. Then the sprinkler system irrigate the house for a prolonged period of time and extinguish the fire and some precautions like that. They'll help them to to get the fire insurance
Mhm.
somehow. So I think it's doable. I don't know. I'm just looking into it on Saturday. Harris and I and Shimei went there and take a look. Anyway, so welcome to the meeting, everybody, and as you know, that Andrew is going to talk to us about the escrow. Is the spotlight? I mean the affiliate spotlight today. So, but before that, let me introduce the other affiliates. Let's start with Sandy Franco from First American Home Warranty. Sandy.
Hello from Santa Clarita. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Monday. Um, so I'm home. I'm back to work. I'll be out in the field this week. Uh, of note, there are 17 days until Thanksgiving. As you are calling the people in your sphere and your past clients and wishing them a happy Thanksgiving and things to be thankful for if they have a home warranty, today and tomorrow are the days to turn on your oven. I know it's going to be a little warm outside and you might think that's counterintuitive. It might be. But if your oven breaks next week, you are buying your meal hot somewhere else and you are not cooking it from home. Parts are taking longer again, especially the high-end appliances. We're at the mercy of the manufacturer, wherever they may be and wherever the parts may be. So let's test our ovens this week. Let's do that. Let's crank them up to like 350, make sure they hold temperature. If not, place a claim now so we can get you fixed so that you can host your family for Thanksgiving. Okay, I'll put my info into chat. Have a lovely week, and I hope to see you guys all out and about this week when I'm out and around.
Thank you, Sandy. I think there's a new law too that requires the refrigerator and the stove to be in the residential housing, right? So that's important. You'll have to check out whether it was working or not before you rent it out. Otherwise, you'll be in violation of the law.
And when you have home inspections done, sometimes they don't test the refrigerator because it's not always part of the sale, right?
Yeah.
Ask and make sure your home inspector will do it.
Yeah.
I mean, all they really have to do is test the temperature on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like they have to crawl into this thing and check a bunch of stuff. Make sure it's in good, safe working order is all you have to do. Boom, hit the functional box, and it's covered by the home warranty. But if it's part of the sale, make sure your home inspector will inspect it.
Right. Good idea. All right. Next, we have Nancy Chen from Lawyer's Title. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome back, Sandy. Yes, we're happy to have you back. Her energy is awesome too. It is time for the holidays, but there's a lot of buyers out there. I mean, one of my realtor had 35 groups going to the open house, and then 1 week it's an escrow. So it is just that you got to go out there and get listings. You got to talk to people, and that's the key. If you don't talk to anybody, you're not going to get anything. It's action, interaction. So if you don't know what to do, take out your phone book or your cell phone, call everybody you know or the people that's contacted you. This is the key. You got to start doing some activity. Activity and action will bring you something. So if you need help, you need a farm, we can't give our phone numbers anymore, but then you can go around your neighborhood. And I want to see the signs around your building coming up with High-10 George, because you can walk that neighborhood so easily. If you're in the office and you say, I need to just ate a donut, maybe I should go exercise, please go out there and knock on some doors. Because you know what? I got agent that did get business from knocking on doors. And it's a fact. I'm not telling you a lie. So go out there and get some business. Nancy Chen, Lawyer's Title. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I won't be here for your Thanksgiving party, but my heart is with you. Thank you, because I'm not going for pleasure. It's a family business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Nancy. We're gonna miss you in the Thanksgiving party.
I know you.
But, family is family. You got to take care of that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Have a nice time with your family.
Will. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Angie Tang from First American Title. Angie, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, High-10 George. Angie Tang, First American Title. I want to do a reminder. We have a FinCEN class coming up on Zoom. It's not going to be recorded. It's going to be this Wednesday at 3 p.m. via Zoom to give you all the updates on how FinCEN is going to affect your transactions. And now the liability is going to be pushed over to the escrow portion of it. So I'm sure Andrew will probably touch on it. But if you're not sure how and what FinCEN is, a great way to learn it is via Zoom this Wednesday. I could send you guys the link. I could send it. There's a QR code or a registration link. I think a lot of you guys might have received my email already for that registration link. If you don't have it, feel free to reach out to me. It's going to be pertinent to understand how FinCEN plays a role in your transactions so you don't have any last minute delays. This weekend, I got a call at 10 p.m. They were frantically worried about closing this Monday today. We were able to figure it out, but it was a residential that was going to be needing FinCEN. Even though it's not law yet, it's still triggered for FinCEN. We were able to change, because it wasn't really a residential, we were able to change it to a commercial transaction because it was a commercial transaction. And we were able to get that recorded this morning. So things happen on the weekends, but you can rest assured that First American's got your back. You call me, we'll get it figured out. I'll take care of it and we'll be good to close. I'm Angie Tang, First American Title. Thank you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Angie, could you send the link to me so we can e-blast it again?
Okay, sounds good. I'll send you the link along with a flyer with a QR code. Then everybody can just log in at 3 p.m. and learn a little bit about it because it's going to be pertinent. It's law.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Angie, isn't it Vincent, the requirement for Vincent is going to be postponed until March the 31st, 2026?
Yes, it's still March.
Yeah, why does it apply here then,
It still gets triggered under the old FinCEN rules,
Oh,
under the
old
old
FinCEN
FinCEN
rule, okay.
government. So it's still in act. It's just getting upgraded and updated in March. So escrow will be liable in March, but right now title is still functioning as clearing all targeted FinCEN properties that follow the criteria.
Yeah. But the GST, is it GST? What's that? The old FinCEN laws as
Oh, GTL.
GTS,
Yeah,
right?
geographic targeting ordinance. Yes.
Yeah. GTL. So yeah.
It's still, yeah. So I understood you.
but it has been going on for a long time. It has to be required. Well, how did the one that you mentioned that Ms. overlooked that?
So they've changed the law up. So coming March, now the liability is going to fall in escrow to prepare everything and to get the clearance. Before it was title's responsibility, and the problem is a lot of the escrows don't know how to manage it. Not only that, now it's all transactions. They've added some more criteria to the new updated one coming March. So it's going to be different than the old one. It's very similar, but also very different because now the role and the responsibility is going to fall on escrows.
Okay.
So First American's been able to prepare for that since end of last quarter, so that if the escrow wanted us to take on the liability, we're able to do so quickly because we've put things in motion on our end to be able to do that for our escrows in case they wanted us to take on liability.
I see. That's good. All right. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I'll send it to you, Michelle. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's all the affiliates, unless we have some in the training room.
No.
Michelle? No? Okay. So now,
Hi, Peter. Sorry,
hi.
actually, Sharon will be speaking today. Our
Oh,
escrow
Sharon will be
officer.
speaking? Okay.
Mhm.
So would you like
Hello.
to introduce Sharon, if you don't mind?
Yes, sure.
Go
So,
ahead.
hi, everyone. Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Sharon. So I'm going to share some common issues through escrow processing. And I need Michelle, I need you to share the screen for the PowerPoint.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, so again, my name is Sharon Run, and I work with Central Escrow Group, and I work for escrow for 21 years. Today I'm going to share the common issues through escrow processing. Okay, next slide. Okay, I'm going to share the escrow opening the issues escrow opening and ordering documents, solar transfer payoff, and escrow closing and post closing. And next slide. So first, escrow opening stage and earnest money deposit. So for we always verify the bank account. So as an agent, please always tell buyer to verify wire account number with escrow officer directly. Since online banking fraud is on the rise, also tell buyer normally escrow company only use same account number. So if sometimes the buyer or the borrower receive two different account number, so just tell them to verify with the escrow company one more time. Second, no ACH transfer for EMD or closing funds. Escrow companies does not accept ACH funds because ACH funds does not meet the good funds requirement for the real estate closing. Third, wire amount for EMD always help the buyer to verify the wire amount on the wire instructions. Sometimes, the escrow might, give the different amount of the wire amount. For time period to wire EMD, normally on the RPA, EMD normally default as 3 business days after acceptance days if no other box checked. Okay, I want to focus on the 3 business days after acceptance day. Sometimes, the agent think it's 3 days after escrow opening. So we will need to clarify the date of acceptance for the buyer. And third party deposit. If the buyer's funds came from a third party other than the buyer, escrow normally will require the supporting document. For example, if from a LLC, we need an operating agreement, or from the LP incorporation, especially from the foreign countries, we need a lot of supporting document to verify if the third party money is can be used for the buyer. Last, check deposit. Nowadays, not very often, but if your client choose to deposit a check, as an agent, you always need to check the box for other. Otherwise, escrow will not accept the check if the earnest money deposit default as a wire.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, go next slide. Document ordering. And first, HOA document upfront fees and rush fees. On the RPA, sellers time to pay the fees for ordering HOA document as default as 3 days after acceptance days. I personally always have a seller saying, "Oh, I don't want to pay the fees before the buyer do the home inspection or receive the buyer's EMD." But I want to remind the sellers it is a part of selling costs to the seller. If you don't provide a payment on time, buyer always will delay, remove all contingency. Yeah, and also for the seller, deliver the document, including HOA document, always default 7 days after acceptances. So as a listing agent, always check with your escrow officer if your escrow officer delivered the HOA document to the buyer and buyer's agent on time. Otherwise, buyer can delay the removal or contingency as well. Second, title report, same as HOA document. They have the same time frame as HOA document. So always check with your escrow officer to see if they deliver the prelim report to the buyer and buyer's agent on time to avoid delays as well. Sorry. Third, wildfire disclosure report. This is recent years we have always the buyer require the seller to provide this report, but for this report we are not able to order it because the wildfire disclosure report always require to answer a question such as what kind of material is the roof, what kind of wall materials. So escrow won't be answered these questions, so the agent will need to order such a report, because sometimes the list agent say, because you guys always order NHD report, so they will ask us to order a wildfire disclosure report as well. Fourth, city inspection report, and a listing agent to check if there is a city report required for the property. I have a list for all the city required city inspection report. You can contact me directly if you need the list. Okay, so next slide. Sorry, next slide. Okay, solar transfer and solar payoff. I personally, the biggest challenge is the solar transfer during the escrow transaction. Especially last year, some big solar companies went bankruptcy. It became very difficult to process the solar transfer. We have some the transaction takes 3 to 4 months to process the transfer. So it's very important for the agent to know about the solar system, what kind of solar system the owner has. Normally in California, below are the typical ways that homeowners own the solar panel. First, they usually pay off. If paid off, then there won't be any solar liens on title report. So there's nothing to transfer. So normally buyer call the solar company to transfer solar warranty after close of escrow. They can send the solar company a recorded grantee or the final closing statement to prove they are the new owners. Second, get a solar loan. If the seller already have a solar loan, they will have one lien attached to the property called a UCC one financing statement. This item will usually show on the title report and before close of escrow, and the escrow company always need to get a termination of this item. And third, there is a solar lease and PPA called a power purchase agreement. Normally, this kind of lease or purchase agreement, they have two liens attached to the title report. One is called a UCC financing statement. The other one is called a notice of release. I have a case few months ago. It take 4 months to transfer, and the listing agent kind of lost all the commission because she did not expect to take this long, and then the buyer's loan as VA loan, they need to extend it 3 times. So the extension fee is $9,000. It's because the property owned by the husband and wife, but the solar and the husband's name only, and then the husband passed away. At the end, the solar panel has to go through the probate processing. Yeah, it goes through the probate. So it takes 4 months to close the escrow, and then the listing agent paid for $9,000 for the buyer's loan extension. So it's very important for the listing agent to know about what kind of solar the owner has, so you can do it before even sign the purchase contract. Okay, so lender's requirement normally, need terminate both items if the buyer obtain a loan. Otherwise, they are not going to fund, and we are not able to close the escrow. Okay, next slide. So at the escrow closing stage and title day down search. Title company normally will day down search to see there are any new liens, judgment, deeds, easement, etc. So it is very important to have the buyer and seller to complete sign and return escrow document, so we can turn in the SI to title company to see if there is any new liens. Sometimes happen to buy as well. I had a case before. The buyer actually owns the child support to the ex-wife, and the kids, even though he's able to get a loan, able to buy a house, he's actually not actually can go through the title. So at the end, the buyer has to cancel. So it is very important to have the buyer and seller to complete the escrow document. For the seller's notary public, if the seller is not in local, usually we will have the seller to sign the notary in embassy, online notary, raw notary, and video notary. As long as the title approved, we are okay to for seller to sign this type of notary. Okay, so post closing, and so just always remind the seller to cancel the insurance payments to the utility companies, HOA and mortgage, and the tax forms, withholding tax. Always remind the seller to let the CPA know the year before they already sold the property. And also very important for the agent understand the final closing statement, because especially right now, the seller received the property tax, right? So they always ask agent, do I need to pay or not? So you will need to understand the final closing statement, how the escrow prorate the property tax and HOAs, so you can explain it to your agent, your client, they will need to pay or not for the property tax and the HOAs and etc. Okay, that's all I need. I want to share with everyone.
Sharon,
Yes.
what is the difference between the online notary and the RON, which is the remote online notary?
Wrong notary is kind of like an e-sign, So I think I think I need to talk to the title again because the title company normally set up the wrong notary. So the seller will need to go through some questions to answer. Normally they require the seller as a citizen, U.S. citizen, to be able
Right.
to do the wrong notary.
Right.
But I think online notary is a little bit different. I need to find out the answer. I actually don't know exactly what difference between.
Okay.
But as long as the title approved, we are okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. And this is the first time I learned that the ACH is not accepted in there.
Yes. Yeah. We had one
usually.
case delayed probably 2 weeks because the buyer actually deposited the final closing funds through the 401k company. They use the ACH. So we will need to return back to the 401k company. It's not like an individual. So like delay 2 weeks. So the buyer actually need to pay the penalty for delay closing.
Yeah, well, this is interesting to learn, I thought the ACH and the wire transfer is almost the same, the escrow,
Except that the service fee is cheaper. I think
Yeah,
ACH
right,
is
right.
like $10 and the wire is what, 25 or 35,
Yes,
depends
yes.
on, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's they said it's not consider a good funds in the real estate closing.
Well,
Yeah.
you still have the funds fully deposited in the bank before you do the ACH, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
So,
know.
but all the escrow company don't accept that.
I
So,
see. Okay, no,
uh-huh.
that's okay, no problem. Any questions for Sharon? Anybody? Thank you for giving us the information, Sharon.
No
Appreciate that.
problem. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sharon.
All right.
Anytime.
All right, then we'll continue the meeting. Let's see. Okay, I have a few announcements. Did you know that this Wednesday we have a very important lunch and learn. We are honored to have invited a CCIM to talk to us. He's the vice president of let's see, Real Next LLC. Specializing in real estate investment, and he's also the CCIM. And he will talk to us about the financial analysis for the retail and apartments. Should be a very interesting topic because this is very important for investor who invest in retail and apartments. And I'm sure that will be very informative. So I encourage everybody to attend. As this will be at 12 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock, okay? Usually we have lunch and learn at 1 o'clock, but this time it's 12 o'clock noon and on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, which is 2 days from now. Okay, and then on Friday, Michelle is going to have a refreshment course in the purchase agreement and BRBC because there's still a lot of ambiguity and a lot of the agents are not sure about the usage and how to use the BRBC properly. So Michelle will be doing a training on that respect this Friday at 1 o'clock. Okay, and then the Thanksgiving, as you know, the Thanksgiving party is from noon to 3 p.m. on the next Friday, November 21st, 2025. and all the affiliates are invited, and they're welcome to come. And that should be, as always, it should be a big party because we will include the people from our development branch, which is James Charles branch, and there will be a lot of people, a lot of fun, a lot of food, and a lot of chit chat. Okay, so this will happen on Friday, November 21st, 2025. And then the office will be closed on the Thanksgiving Day, which is 27, and also the day after that. So 28 is also closed. So we have 2 days closed for the office. Okay, and then we'll have Thanksgiving. Okay, all right. Any questions? No questions?
Hi, I just want to mention that
Okay.
the presentation on Lunch and Learn on Wednesday, November the 12th from 12 to 1 is going to be presented by Matthew Smith. He's a very knowledgeable real estate analyst, but he is not a CCIM. I am a CCIM, and I will be available to answer any questions that any of the attendees have. What Peter is trying to accomplish for our company is to give every agent, residential and commercial, the necessary tools, knowledge and the tools to list your client's commercial properties, whether it's the examples of retail investment property or an apartment investment property. We got everything covered. This is a very fast way to learn how the underwriting is done by commercial real estate brokers who are in the business. But we're trying to save everybody money so that you can learn without having any wasted time or money expenditures. There's a number of resources that you will be able to use. Number 1 is you can use RealNets. But number 2, if you want to get more in depth and get a hold of the software at an economical price, you can get it from CoStar. I mean, not from CoStar, but CCIM. But there are ways to get scholarships. I'm now on the CCIM Foundation committee, and there are a lot of scholarships that will be made available to both residential and commercial brokers and agents who want to get formal training at an economic cost. So that's what I wanted to do. Peter Cam is doing an outstanding job to get this information to everybody. So we hope that everybody who has an interest in becoming a productive commercial broker will attend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, David, for your supplemental information about the Lunch and Learn. I'm sure that it will be very informative and very educational, and we're looking forward to that. Thank you very much. All right, at this point, I would like to call Michelle to tell us about the listing and the sales of the company.
Hello, everybody. So new escrows last week, we had 197 Nicholson Avenue in Monterey Park, 8175, listing agent Shumaine Harrison Cam, 1525 La Loma in Pasadena, selling agent Christine Chen, 1.430, 17525 Colima. That is a commercial lease. Shumaine Cam represented tenant and landlord for $152,000 is the calculation of the sale price. 16045 Jackson Drive in Fontana. New escrow brought in by Jesus Alvarez as a listing agent, 626,500. And for a new listings last week, we have Paxton Chu has a lease for $3,300 a month, 4239 via Arborella, number 101 in LA. Laura Shen has a residential listing in Bradbury, 365 Oak Mountain Road. It's 5.888800. Gary Lee has a lease for $4,300 a month, 9829 East Lemon Avenue in Arcadia. Antonio Rodriguez has a couple of listings, one residential, which is 145 West 66th Street in Los Angeles for $899. He also has an income property listing, 1.1 million at 929 North Rowan Avenue in Los Angeles. Emilio Campos has a residential listing for 1.298, 1567 Fair Park Avenue in Eagle Rock. Nina and Tatiana have a condo listing at 419 North Chandler Avenue, number 410 in Monterey Park, 680, 205 North Nicholson Avenue in Monterey Park, 889. That's Harrison and Shumei Cam residential listing. For closed escrows, we have 7211 Donnelly Avenue in San Gabriel, 880. That's selling agents Shumei and Harrison Cam. 926 West Philadelphia, number 18 in Ontario. A selling agent Lorraine Goosen, it's residential for 470. Sandy Ng was the selling agent at 11849 Cog Hill Drive in Whittier at 1.235 residential. Gary Lee residential, 12466 Quinticobeca in Eastville, 550. And congratulations, everybody. It's a pretty good week.
Yeah, pretty good. Very good. And also I would want to mention that Laura Shan's Bradbury, the listing was phenomenal. It's 5.88 million. It's the largest listing for this year for our company. And it's beautiful. I saw the pictures and it's a big lot, 5.36 acres. And the Bradbury gated community with guarded community too. So very prestigious house. And if you can help sell the house, that would be very nice. Okay. If you want some information, I can provide you some. Either you reach to me or reach out to Laura. Okay. All right. Any questions about the listing, or do you have any reduction in price? Or any want to pitch the listings or sales?
Yeah, I want.
Okay.
I didn't hear Michelle mention about the income property closing escrow this week on the Tustin. It's a sick place. And I have one question for Peter. After closing, recorded, and the buyer went to talk to the tenant, and the tenant showed that the rent they pay for the proration, through escrow proration, and the number is different than the escrow number, means that the seller agent or the seller didn't put the correct number there. And that's one question. The second question is, the seller keeps saying that they don't have recent rent increase, but in effect, October 7, they just have a new rent increase, but they didn't disclose that. My question to this is, are there any liability on the seller part, and how to correct this?
Well, it depends whether it's a material or not. Is it a big difference that the buyer is relying on? And if it is, and if the buyer, if the seller knows about it, then it's the seller's responsibility, and also the selling agent. The listing agent's responsibility.
Yeah, the question is, before closing escrow, we keep asking, can you verify, be sure there's no rent increase most recently? And they keep saying no, up until one day before closing escrow, they say no. But once after escrow, we went there, we find they just have rent increase. So of course, then they prorate a month is based on the old 2,500 per month instead of 2,600 per month. And so there are some, it's minor. But my question to this is that, are there any way to remedy this, or?
Yeah, you can talk to the seller and to see how much they can compensate. Particularly, it said that rent increase for this particular property for this particular unit. that you
Yeah,
bought for this particular house that you bought? I mean, the apartment that you bought.
yeah. Is your question, do they have a rent increase notice?
No, for how many units? Are they all increased the same
Oh,
time?
no, it's just 6 units, and 1 unit, they just increased in October 7th.
Oh.
Oh,
And this, we start purchasing October 16th. And during the time, we keep asking, are there any recent rent increase? And they keep saying no, no, up until one day before closing. But once after closing, we find out from the tenant that they do have a new increase later, but they keep saying no, so it's not true.
I see.
And we find that the number is because they increased, so their proration didn't deflected that.
Interesting. Yeah. How much is the damage?
The damage is it's $100 extra. Like 2,500 instead they pay 2,600, but they didn't deflect 2,600. Proration, they are about 27 days proration. So it's the number is not important. Probably buyer would take that, but the question is, it just feel uncomfortable. But because if they have new rent increase and the new buyer didn't know they give another rent increase, then that's violation.
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely the negligence of I wouldn't say negligent, but it's the oversight of the seller. But depends on the damage. Maybe you can negotiate with him to pay the buyer a little bit money, then get it over with.
Just it's a good relationship, but because of this, the other party originally they are very angry at me, but then later on I show them the proof. Then they make their tone down. I say, yeah, it's the truth. You have to respect to the fact. And he said, yeah, my father is engineer, so I respect to the fact.
So you represent the seller?
I represent myself as a buyer.
Oh, you represent the buyer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I represent myself as a buyer. Yes, correct.
Oh, okay. You're the buyer yourself.
Yeah, and I represent myself. And
Okay. So maybe we can talk to the seller and say, hey, compensate me a certain amount, and then we can just get get this resolved. It's always negotiable.
Yeah, always. It's just the funny thing is, I was in front of the tenant, and then tenant in front of me. They show me the proof how they paid, and they show the new rent increase. At the same time, the seller called the tenant, say, "Oh, hey, Michael, it's not the current owner. Although just a few hours ago, he told the tenant that Michael is the new owner, and don't talk to Michael." So I'm suspect they try to hide something, and that's just something that uncomfortable.
I see. Well, we'll talk more about it after the meetings, Michael. So, okay. All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions from other agents? Anybody want to share their ideas? Okay, if not, then I better do my presentation today. I have some message for you. It's regarding the discrimination. What happened? Yeah, the discrimination in residential leasing. Lately there are a lot of residential leasings happening in our company, and that's a good sign. But I have to caution I have a time that sometimes the residential leases is the hub for lawsuits for discriminations. Like last 2 years we have five the complaints regarding discriminations and in various areas, and when we involve a lawsuit, then it's $25,000 deductible for the agents and the company. So that's a lot of money. So if you have a residential lease, a small one, you have to look at how much benefit and how much risk you're taking. If it is a very small residential lease, so just for 1 year, and the rent is not very big, and And so you really should think about whether it's worthwhile to do that residential lease or not. Now, commercial leasing is a totally different animal because commercial leasing usually is much more it's cleaner, and a lot of times they won't have any discrimination issues, and the money involved is a lot bigger than the residential leasing. So this kind of give and take that you have to take into consideration. But at this today, I will try to revisit the fair housing laws regarding discrimination, so that you have an idea of what to avoid and not get in trouble. Okay, and so basically, for fair housing laws, there are laws from the federal and as well as the state and local. The federal laws governing the discrimination is the Federal Fair Housing Act, FHA, and the Federal American with Disability Act, ADA. And then you have the California Fair Employment and Housing Act, which is FEHA, which also governs the discrimination in employment as well as in housing. Then you have the California UNRRA Civil Rights Act, and also the California Ralph Civil Rights Act, with all the others for local housing, the ordinances. And those are all the basic the laws governing the fair housing. And who's protected? Actually, the federal laws only protect 7 classes, but then there was a big expansion in the state laws and the local laws, and now they have expanded into 26 categories. That includes the transgender, includes the sexual orientation, marital status, and all that, and which is listed in detail in the CAR forms. So if you want to take a look at it, then just look at it in the CAR form, and that tells you all the 26 category, and which is also listed here, which I'm not going to get into in detail. So the most common discrimination in residential leasings, there are 4. The first one is a disability. The second is race. Third is familial status, and the fourth is a source of income. So let's talk about this disability, and this is the foremost for the number of lawsuits in the discrimination complaints. And approximately 40% of the total fair housing complaints filed deals with that disability. And there are two sections in the disability. One is that involve the request for reasonable accommodation, commonly involving the assistant animals, like support animal and the service animals. And then the second area is for the reasonable modification or accommodations for the basic disabilities, such as if you are physically disabled, if you are blind, and if you cannot see or read something, then it's also protected, and because of that, those disabled people have the right to request for a reasonable accommodation. So what is a reasonable accommodation request? Well, this is a two-way street. It's reasonable for the tenant, may not be reasonable for the landlords. So it has to be reasonable for both. If there's a particular hardship on either end, and then it's not a reasonable accommodation. So when the tenant requests for accommodation, then it has to be fair both ways. And what are the elements of a reasonable accommodation request? Well, first of all, it has to be in writing most of the time, and also it can be requested by the person who has the ability itself, or the third party who are in a position to know. For example, if a person needs a support animal, then he can request it for accommodation either by himself or certified by a doctor or somebody who the third party who knows about his ability. Okay, so so those are the elements of valid reasonable accommodation, and most of the time it should be requested in writing. Okay, and what is the interactive process? Basically, it's just to establish a dialogue between the landlord and the tenants, and the tenant can tell the landlord what his difficulties is, what his best ability is, and ask the landlord to accommodate his disability. And then the landlord can also tell the tenant whether he will be able to accommodate them or not because of the hardship or because of other reason where he cannot accommodate the process. And it has to be an ongoing process of back and forth, back and forth. That's why it's called the interactive process. Now, how do you handle reasonable accommodation requests for assisted animals in housing? Now, there are two for the assistance animal. There are two types. One is the service animal, which is not negotiable really, because it's definitely needed for the disabled person. Because like for icing dog or service animal, where they allow the animal to go to places, and this is really not negotiable. But for the support animal, it's negotiable between the landlord and the tenant, because hey, depends on the hardship of the landlord and the hardship of the tenant, and it can be negotiated accordingly. And it's a different process for the support animal. Then you have to the tenants have to give a proof that he has that kind of disability, which he needs the support animal, either by the certification of a medical profession or somebody who really know about his disability, and it has to be in writing. And then we also have the financial accommodation as a disabled related needs. For example, if somebody is getting SSI, and if the SSI payment will be a little bit late during the month where they have to pay the rent or something, then so the tenant will not be able to pay the rent on time. And then, if he doesn't pay on time, they will accrue late fees. So if that's the financial difficulty for the tenant can request for financial accommodation. And also, if the tenant is not able to pay the security deposit as required by the landlord, then the tenant can also request for financial accommodation because the difficulty that he has. And then there's the discrimination by race. Now, when we talk about discrimination race, there are two types of things that violates this discrimination laws. One is steering, and one is block busting. What is a steering? Steering, that means you point the direction you point your tenant to the direction where because of the disability, and saying that the area is not good for him, or because of race, because of the disabilities he has to have a special accommodation, and so saying that, hey, this area is not really good for you, you should go to this different area of for your better accommodation. So that is called steering, and which is really forbidden in real estate. And also, what's activities are considered to be steering? Well, is for example, you discourage the purchase or rental by exaggerating the drawbacks or failing to inform any person of the desirable features, such as communicating to any prospective buyer that they would not be comfortable or compatible with the existing residents of the neighborhood, or you assign any person a particular section of the community, or you refuse to show the listing in a certain area because of the protected characteristics. And also you deny or delaying process of an application to buy or rent due to the person's protected characteristic. Those are all the activities of the steering. And what about blockbusting? Blockbusting is really saying that, hey, you kind of scared the seller and saying that, hey, this area is suffer a lot of criminal activities, and so you should really lower your price in selling this property. And it's called it's a kind of not a blackmailing, but a kind of threatening negative effect to the prospective seller or the landlord, and saying that you should lower your purchase price or lower the rental rate. So this kind of the panic selling or panic renting is forbidden in the housing industry. And then another issue is that can the criminal history information be used in the tenant screening process? Now it all depends, if it's a misdemeanor and it's not really very important, then you should not use that to consider the qualification of the renter. But if this is a criminal history, for example, the sexual harassment or making laws and deal with sex offenders, and that is that's very damaging for the community. The kids, if they have a lot of kids in there, that the safety of it depends on the residents that lives there. Then you might be able to use it as a criteria for renting it to some from the tenant. But other than that, you should not use the criminal history to decide whether they should rent it out or not, unless that is is a policy things that they want to protect the public from the damages. And then we have the familial status, which deals with the occupancy limits. A lot of times the landlord don't want to rent it to people with large families. If you have more than 2 kids, you say, oh, it's too many people in the apartment, so they don't rent it to them. But that's against the law. Well, of course, there's a basic requirement that for the density of the apartments that you have to be aware of. In other words, if there's just 1 room, you cannot rent it to like more than 4 people. Because in one room, you can rent it to maximum about 3 people, according to the state and the local laws. But other than that, if you have 2 or 3 rooms and you cannot restrict it to only about 2 or 3 people in their house. So you have to be very, very careful with this kind of requirement. You have to put it with a lot of discretions. Okay. And how do you avoid discrimination? Well, of course, when you try to rent the apartment out, do not advertise in the occupancy number or anything about children. See, if they don't want to rent it to children, that's against the law. And do not require about the personal characteristic that delves into the applicant's cultural background or family makeup, or do not ask about any kids. If you have ask them how many kids, and because they have so many kids, so you don't want to rent it to so many kids, that's against the law also. But you do have to have a reasonable space to person ratio. In other words, if this is one room, you cannot probably rent it to 4 people or 5 people. Okay, maximum one room is 3 people. But you have to take application from all adults over the age of 18. The last type of discrimination that is very important, the residential leasing, is the source of income. Okay, you cannot discriminate people because of where the income comes from. Basically, it targets the people with the Section 8. As you know, the Section 8 is a program by the HUD or the PHA to assist the tenants to get housing units, and it pays about 70% of the rent. The tenant only have to pay about 30% of the rent. Now, they have a particular requirements requiring the certain level of maintenance in the apartment, and then they have a annual inspection for that unit, and they make sure that those units are fair to the tenants, and so a lot of landlords don't want that kind of hassle, so they do not want to rent it to Section 8, but that's against the law. Okay, that means Section 8 is the kind of a source of income criteria for the housing industry, and you just cannot discriminate against the people with the source of income. And so actually there's a lot of benefit in the Section 8 program. First of all, the voucher holders are vetted with background checks by the PHA before they are accepted into the programs. Secondly, many of the PHA have the landlord incentive program, which they can sign up to offset the hassles that they have to deal with the tenants. And third, the PHA provides a free property listing services, which can help to reduce the vacancy of the apartment complex. Fourthly, there's a reliable payment from the PHA every month. You don't have to worry about people, the tenant not be able to pay the rent, and that's a very good assurance for the landlord. And last of all, the tenant may also set the rent amount and also security deposit in comparable fair market value, because the Section 8 program always adjust the rate and to commensurate with the market conditions. So those are the good things about Section 8, and actually it's not bad at all sometimes, especially when you have a lot of rental units in the area where it's under rent control. They can be beneficial to the landlord. Okay, so this is just a brief overview of the discrimination laws in residential leasing. And as I said, when you're doing residential leasing, be very discretionary, and make sure that you don't get into trouble with the discrimination laws. Okay, at this point, any questions?
We got a question, Peter.
Yeah.
Regarding the occupancy of 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms, do we also consider the number of occupancy based on the number of bathrooms?
Occupancy of bathrooms?
Yeah, for example,
the
like
bathroom had no
bearing.
No bearings, yeah, no bearings at all. It's just the room where you reside.
So if it's, let's say, three occupants for each bedroom, so for a 3-bedroom, the maximum will be 9?
Well, 1 bedroom, the maximum is 3.
Right, so if
It
there's
has
a
to be over
3-bedroom,
120 square feet.
so if that is the case, then for a 3-bedroom, the maximum will be 9 occupants.
Yes, theoretically, yes. If
Okay,
you, you know,
so
if
not more
you
than 9.
satisfy all the conditions, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Any more questions?
Okay, I have a question, Peter.
Sure.
Regarding the ADU, like 400 square foot, so how many people is allowed? The ADU.
How many rooms?
400.
Carl? How many rooms you have?
It's ADU, is no
2 rooms, right?
it's a rat, yeah. No. It's like a rather
Studio?
convert to ADU. So.
ADU is how many rooms?
No room, just like
No room.
they have kitchen, everything.
So,
yeah,
okay, so no
It's like a
rooms.
studio.
It's a 3.
like a studio.
3.
3?
Yeah.
Can we say like 3 people or just like a
Yeah, you
couple
can
and a kid?
say
Is it okay to say that?
basically, if there's no it's a studio, you know, if it's a studio, then basically maximum 3, no more than 3.
Okay.
Diana, I wouldn't be saying a couple and a kid, you know. Don't say nothing about the
Yeah.
structure of who the 3 people are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that can get you in
don't mention
trouble
that
too.
at all, you know. You have to be
Yeah.
flexible. What can I
Just
say?
basically maximum capacity 3 persons. That's it, right?
But you
For the
cannot mention
ADU
it.
with one room or 1 studio.
Got it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Sure.
And okay, another question. Security deposit only 1 month, right?
Yeah,
You
1
cannot go.
month. Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Anything else? I hope that will help you decide whether you're going to do a residential or not after all these discrimination rules.
Very
Okay.
tricky.
What?
Very tricky.
Yeah, very tricky. Right, exactly. Yeah. You
Quick
just wonder
question.
what, because we last year, actually for the last 2 years, we have 5 complaints about discriminations. 2, I think it's 2 in disability, 1 in race, 1 in 2 in the source of income. So it's you know, frequent. Okay. All right. Any more questions?
Peter, this is Sylvia.
Yes, Sylvia.
You were mentioning about support animal. What is the other versus other?
That the other is service animal. Service animal, that means seeing dogs, you know, yeah, that were leading you to places, you know, those are service animal. Those are really non-negotiable, you know.
Right. Okay.
Support animal, yes, it's negotiable because, you know, it depends on how accommodative is the landlord and what's the hardship, you know, and whether it's reasonable or not, things like that.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can we say do not allow pet?
Oh no, you should not just category say no pets. And service animal is definitely not in the pet. It's not the definition of pet. So service animal, so you cannot discriminate. But like a support animal, maybe you can, and the pets that for no reason is be there, then depends on the to the policy of the complex and whether you know you have any hardship of keeping the animal there. You know, it can be negotiable. Yes.
And Peter,
Okay,
I
but
don't
we
think,
but,
oh, go ahead. They can't
but
raise
we
rent because of the animal.
Yeah.
There's no
Right. You
animal
cannot
rent.
raise the rent because the animal. Right. Yeah.
okay, but we can say no pet allowed. Okay, as long as service is decent. No pet allowed, right? Just like regular. No, we don't allow. It's okay, right? No pet allowed.
No, I would not suggest categorically not allowing the pets. You know, it depends on the situation. You know, and so it's the tricky. Well, is the accommodation, reasonable accommodation.
But can we say that on the MLS, no pet allowed? I mean, except service dog,
No,
yeah.
no, I wouldn't do that because then you'll say that, well, so what is support animal, you know? Support animal is some kind of a pet, but it's some that you need the support to emotional support for the tenants, you know. So that's why I would say no pet allowed, you know, categorically. It can always be negotiated. It depends on the individual situation. So in other words, you have to have reasonable accommodation for your tenants. That's it.
But I see they can get like you say promotion or whatever. They can get a doctor note and then
Yeah.
even the regular like I see many like that. So they have a doctor note. Yeah.
You don't
They're
even
not
have
really
to,
sick.
you don't even have to get a doctor's note. You can get a note from your
They
friend.
have it.
Your
They
friend who
prove it.
knows
Like
your disability.
yeah, they have no not a note. It's just like emotional, just regular people. They just say, oh, because they're emotional. And then the doctor give them,
Yeah, of course, you can do that. Of course, you can always do that.
yeah, easily.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's why why I said I would never say, but categorically, absolutely no pets, you know. Then they will give the idea to the people who are looking for this kind of discrimination lawsuit, some kind of excuse to sue you.
I got another question regarding those pets. Can a landlord ask for security deposit for those animals?
No,
Okay.
no. The
Not in telephone?
the security deposit cannot be over 1 month.
Yeah, no, they
You know,
call
no matter what your pets you know are, you know.
yeah, they call it a pet deposit, something like
No.
that. You cannot, okay.
Mhm.
You cannot charge the pet deposit if it's emotional or support.
Well, in case the animal starts eating up part of the property, then
yeah.
causing damage like to the doors
Yeah.
or to your windows.
Anyway, all the deposit together cannot be more than 1 month's rent. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No matter what
But-
is what you call the pet deposit or what kind of deposit, the whole thing is a security deposit.
Right.
All right?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Understood.
So key deposit, I mean, can we break it down, key deposits and 1 month deposit?
Key deposit
is
normally
also
is like
included in the security
$50, something like
deposit.
that.
Yeah.
That's the norm. And for the pet deposit is like usually what I see is $500.
500?
Yeah, 500 pet deposit, key deposit, $25 or $50 max.
Mhm.
And that's what I've seen in all the listings that I've saw.
Mm.
I have another question. Good morning, everyone.
Emma, go ahead.
In relation to these the pets, I've known a couple of landlords that charge an additional monthly fee for having a pet, an emotional pet, and I know that we just mentioned that the rent should not be increased. So is that considered a rent increase or some other fee that's allowed for having an emotional pet?
That I'm not 100% sure. I have to look it up whether it's under the rent control or not.
Okay. Is there a certain department I should check? And it's generally $50 or $100. It's not so much more above the rent, but it's still, it seems to me like a rent increase.
I've never seen that.
I don't think that's a rent increase, but if it's included in the security deposit. But then is that every month that you have to charge?
Yes, every month the tenant
every
pays.
month you have to charge.
Every month they pay an additional $50, a tenant that I know, and she was wondering about that since there shouldn't be rent increases for pets, emotional pets, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know whether you can charge for
It looks like to be a better way of
extra rent for that, you know.
Instead of having pet deposit.
We don't charge the key. We have a question in the room.
Yes, I have a question.
We don't charge the deposit for the Remote. We don't charge the deposit for the remote and the keys.
Because the remote costs $100 each. So in case they lose it, can they tenant pay for it when they lose it?
If the tenant loses $100 remote and tells the landlord, can the landlord ask for the reimbursement
I
of
think
the
so.
remote? Yeah.
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 That would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have a question like increase like rent right now is how many percent? Like 2, 3 or whatever. Like
It depends
in
on
a year?
the individual city. You know, some city has a rent control ordinance you have to abide by, and then you know, for California in the state laws requires that in any way, you know, you cannot charge more than 5% plus the CPI increase for that particular year. So in that the last year, the CPI increase was like 2.8. So now for, you know, even if you don't have any rent control ordinance, local rent control ordinance, you cannot raise your rent by more than 5 plus a 2.8, which is 7.8%. That's the maximum. But again, you know, like for Pasadena, you cannot even more than 4%. It depends. So it all depends on the local ordinance. You have to call the city and find out. Very complicated. Did I answer your question, Lana?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So just say 5% is
7.8 is the maximum for
yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
Okay. Any more questions?
This is Val, Ken.
Well,
How are you? I have a question about the dogs. The insurance goes up when you have a dog on a premises. One bite is $1 million. So
what?
if the dog bites somebody,
Oh yeah,
that's $1
yeah.
million and more.
I
So
know
who
it's a
pays?
sensitive. It's a sensitive subject. Well,
Who
you know,
pays for the insurance?
I know
That's why
you have to.
tenant will have to pay for this, in my opinion, because he got the dog, he got to pay for it. Increase in insurance, they should carry.
Well, you know, they have their liability too. You know, if they don't restrain the dog as safely as they should, they are liable. But you know, even though they are liable, if you don't have money, what can you do, right? So, you cannot say
Well, I
anything
know,
to
but
them.
that they should. I mean, I think
And whoever that is the deep pockets that suffer, you know, and usually the landlord has the deeper pocket. So when you have the lawsuit, it all goes to the landlord, you know. So that's
I
why the
know.
landlord has to have adequate insurance.
I think the people increase when they get increase of insurance, they put it on tenant in agreement. So
Yeah,
I heard that.
Yeah, even the agreement, you know, if the tenant doesn't have money, what can you do?
Get rid of the dog.
What?
Get rid of the dog. I mean, this
Get it from the dog. Oh, good luck.
yeah, I'm not into that, so I'm just question. I just wanted to see opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I heard.
Sometimes it's not fair, not absolutely fair, you know. But what can you do?
Okay, I heard that the tenant can get insurance, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because the
You
cat,
can
they
require
have dog
actually you can require the tenant to get
to
insurance.
buy insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, what about waterbed?
What about waterbed? I think because of the safety reason, you can forbid from having waterbed in the premises. I think you could.
If you want if you don't want a waterbed, the car contract does say it's allowed providing they have insurance, but for people like my parents on their hardwood floors, it's a no-go. So we always addendum that out, that regardless if they have insurance for the waterbed, waterbeds aren't allowed. So you have to be cautious on those type of clauses because it
Yeah.
says if you insure it, it's allowed. but some property owners don't want water on their hardwood or whatever type of property.
Yeah. Right.
So that's in the car contract.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of little things that you have to consider, you know. I know it's not easy. Okay. All right. I think it's getting late. So, if no questions, I'll see you next week. Have a
Bye,
nice
everybody. See you
nice
Friday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.